Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brandon Strubberg, and I'm an assistant professor in the English department where I direct the Technical Communication program. It's an honor to be this year's David Payne Award winner. It's easily the highlight of my career so far. Now, I've been acing my courses my entire time at SAM after being encouraged to do so by Brian Blackburn, the previous director of our program. Acing a course can be intimidating when you first start, so I started small. For my first ACE project, my students collaborated with my brother's small business. Students developed a social media plan and designed some marketing assets for the business, and they had a great experience with him visiting campus several times to discuss their work. From there, as my confidence grew, I took on more clients and expanded beyond our introductory course in technical writing into more advanced courses. So over the past 6 years, my students have worked with various divisions within the university and beyond, including device manufacturers, nonprofits, and police departments. Currently, students in my courses are working with the Houston Metro Internet Crimes Against Children Federal Task Force. So I have some experience working with community partners and clearly enjoy and believe in it, right? When Joyce McCauley asked me to say a few words about why I ace my courses, why the practice is important to me, I figured it should be easy to talk about why I do this work. And I have all the regular reasons. First, my field, technical communication, simply lends itself to community engagement and client work. Every organization needs documentation and communication support. There's simply no exception to that rule. And then there are, of course, the more idealistic reasons. The relationship these projects establish between the university and the community is essential, as is the shared value for both the partner and the students. The community partner receives free, needed, skilled work from the students. Likewise, the students benefit in many ways. They participate in professional resume-building experiences. They call upon skills in real time. They network with local and, in some cases, national professionals. They develop a sense of ownership over their projects as they realize that their work has real stakes for other people. And ACE projects literally embody SHSU's motto. It's right there emblazoned on the brick wall outside. The measure of a life is its service. That commitment starts right here in the ACE classroom. I'd also add that SHSU and the staff at the Center for Community Engagement, as well as the amazing college ACE coordinators, all collectively make it far easier to do this kind of work here than in many other universities. So those reasons, among many others, of course apply to me. But why do I really feel so strongly about this academic community engagement practice? I started thinking back a bit further, reflecting on my own career. And as I started connecting the dots of my own professional experiences, they seemingly led back to one catalyst, one specific moment. Funny enough, a community engagement project that I had to complete as a student. So if you'll humor me for a couple minutes more, I'd like to tell you about this experience and trace its effects across my own career. So the year was 2012. I was sitting in a graduate class about technical editing. My professor announces that she'll be pairing each student editor with external clients throughout the semester to develop our skills and help professionals in need. At the time, we didn't call this community engagement, but that's exactly what it was. Up to that moment, I had only ever worked as a graduate teaching assistant in first and second year writing classes. So this was going to be my first opportunity to present myself as a professional in any other capacity. It was nerve-wracking. For my first client, I ended up paired with a guy preparing a report on sustainable architectural design. I think it was for a physician's office. What do I know about sustainable design? Nothing. But I did know a little bit about report writing, so I edited the report he sent me and we scheduled a meeting in the university library to review the edits and discuss revision strategies. As I'm approaching the library cubicle that we're meeting in, I realized in that moment that I didn't have my professor to look over my shoulder and correct me. I didn't have a classmate or colleague to lean on for support. I didn't even have my textbook with me. Maybe I should have brought it, at least. All I had were the skills I'd been practicing and developing in that course up to that moment. That was all I could bring to this meeting. So I did. By the end of our meeting, the client was trying to press cash into my hands because he was so happy with the progress we had made and he felt like his report might make a real difference. The editing process had given him renewed confidence. It felt great in the moment to know I had helped him. I sent him a memo detailing our discussion and edits. I had a couple more clients for that class and finished the semester. So what? It was a good class experience. Here's where the dots start connecting. December of 2012, 1 week after I finished that editing class, a connection reached out. He had a colleague in the oil and gas industry, specifically a VP of marketing for a global service provider based in Europe with offices all over the world. They needed writing help with their marketing and branding division. Now that I had a little bit of experience working with clients, I said I was interested. The VP and I exchanged emails, and I sent him some writing and editing samples, namely just about all the work I had done in that editing course. He was most interested in hearing about the work I did in that class with those clients. He sent me a contract. Funny enough, in December of this year, I'll finish my 11th year consulting with that company. So the client projects in that editing course led directly to me getting that consulting gig, but it doesn't stop there. Fast forward to 2015. We had just moved to Houston after I had finished my PhD coursework, and I was teaching writing, but also looking for more permanent work. I applied to this unique job at MD Anderson Cancer Center as a scientific editor. I got an interview. Want to know what the managers were most interested in hearing about? Not my PhD in technical communication. They were most interested in hearing about my consulting work in the oil and gas industry. MD Anderson hired me. So the client projects in that editing course led directly to me getting that consulting gig, which led directly to me getting hired at one of the top-rated cancer centers in the world. But it doesn't stop there. Fast forward to 2017. My alma mater, Sam Houston State, posted a job for a faculty position in technical communication. I applied. Want to know what the previous director of our program was most interested in hearing about? It wasn't my scholarly publication record. He was most interested in hearing about my work at MD Anderson. He had a vision for building a program founded on its connections to industry. SHSU hired me. So the client projects in that editing course led directly to me getting that consulting gig, which led directly to me getting hired at one of the top-rated cancer centers in the world, which led directly to me getting hired here. So why do I believe in acing my courses? Because I've lived the ACE experience. I've benefited from a professor requiring me to put my skills to use and present myself as a professional for a class partner. And now I can trace that line of events like a map of my professional career, starting with that editing class and leading me directly to this moment standing here in front of you today. And the best part is that I had no idea where that experience would take me when I was in the middle of it. Like many of our students working on their first ACE project, I was just the nervous student trying to not look ridiculous in front of my client. So I encourage you to keep that in mind, that the work you do here when you take the time to develop ACE experiences for your courses, when you put your students into these kinds of situations, you are marking their professional maps, whether it's a starting point or a waypoint that sets them on the road to the next professional stop. And at some point, it might be in the middle of that ACE project, it might be a week after the semester ends, or it might be 12 years later. But at some point, they'll be able to look back on that map and see the mark you made on it and understand how it fits into their own professional journey. That's the value of the ACE experience. That's why it matters. That's why I do what I do in my courses. And it's part of what makes Sam Houston a special place in our own community and in the lives of our students. Thank you so much for your time today. And for those faculty who take the time to build ACE experiences into your courses, thank you for all the work that you do.